Hey guys, this is 013. Um, I just kind of wanted to make a video on Battlefield 6 as it released a few days ago and I've been playing it for a while. So it's kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of mediocre from the beta. I enjoyed the beta a lot more. It felt more like, it felt more like a Battlefield game in the beta compared to the full game. There are a lot of issues in this version of the game, or the full game, that I want to kind of touch up on and talk about, and maybe like certain things that the developers could do going towards the future for this game, because obviously it is going to be kind of live service, and also kind of talk about some of my thoughts on, the thing everyone didn't really want, of course, the Battle Royale. And what they instead could have done. So the first thing from the beta, obviously, I think everyone knows, is the movement speed kind of got nerfed and decreased. I am not a fan of the movement speed being like this, and there are a few reasons. And no, it's not because, like, obviously I'm a COD player. I can play Battlefield games. Like, Battlefield 3 is a very slow game, and I can play that very, very well. I can go into like I can go into North Shore Canal's TDM games and still drop 100 bombs with like 30 deaths with the M16 and AEK. Same with BF4. BF4 is obviously a fast game. I kind of play that a lot more because it's more in a way modernized with the settings. That's one thing that kind of does suck with BF3, but it also takes more skill to do. Is like the FOV is kind of ADS FOV is kind of limited. So you have a lot of recoil, so you are kind of forced to tap fire, and the bloom on that game is kind of a lot more. But with this game, it's kind of weird because Battlefield 6 and the beta was fast. It felt like a true successor to Battlefield 4. But the problem is when you kind of do something so drastic, like you change the movement speed from something that was so fast to something so slow, it becomes a major issue. The reason why is because you have to keep in mind that when developers make video games, right, like when they make FPS games, the maps, the guns are designed with the movement speed in mind. When you do something like randomly changing the movement speed of a game, the flow is completely messed up because the maps don't really aid in that. It ruins the flow of the maps. It ruins the flow of the gunplay, and you can really see that in the full game compared to the beta. Like in the beta, I could really easily drop like 50, 60 kills, and I will get into some of the major issues in this game, which also leads to a lot of my deaths, which are genuinely bugs that should just be taken out and fixed. But yeah, the movement speed should not be like kind of like this. It should be a little bit more faster, and the reason why, and this is kind of, I'm talking about TDM and King of the Hill and Domination. It's even worse in Conquest for infantry, because you're kind of screwed in certain scenarios. Like if you're walking like on Firestorm, or you're running on Firestorm, you basically have to stay out in the open if you don't have any sort of vehicle. You're kind of screwed because most people are running snipers, and it does in a way kind of feel like Battlefield 1, but much worse, because Battlefield 1, you could still kind of understand how to play that game. I think Battlefield 1 was the kind of middle ground of the movement speed. Battlefield 4 was fast, Battlefield 3 was slow, Battlefield 1 was in the middle, and it did it perfectly. I could still play Battlefield 1 perfectly as well. Of course, there aren't as many players as BF3 and 4, but Battlefield 1's amazing. I love that game. The game flows really well, and it's just a fun game to play. Like, I think the holy trinity is, well, I don't want to say trinity, but the 4 games I would say is Battlefield 2, which I never played. I just heard it was really good, and there were a lot of tech in that game that you could use like early on, but they fixed. Obviously Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, and then 1. Those were I think the best games. Oh, actually Bad Company 2. I forgot about that too. Bad Company 2 was amazing. I forgot. I used to play that on console. That game was really good. But in my opinion, Battlefield 6 could have been up there with one of the legendary like Battlefield games if they just kept it the same from the beta and then just did some of the fixes that, you know, that really needed it. The shotguns, which is kind of crazy because the full game has the issues with the shotguns being broken still, which I don't really agree with. They should really be more, much more nerfed in my opinion. But another one was the grenade launcher, which they actually did nerf the speed of. Now, I obviously love the grenade launcher in the beta. It's basically you kind of play as an engineer. You kind of played as an engineer and the medic in the beta, which obviously was just not good because it's kind of not locked to the classes. But they could have changed that too. But they should have really kept the movement speed. And then the other thing I'm going to talk about right here, the bloom. ADS bloom in this game is actually broken. It needs to be fixed and needs to be addressed quickly because most of my gunfights that I've played outright kind of rely on luck most of the time. You can tap fire, you can burst tap fire like you do in BF4, not 3, and it will still happen for some reason. Now I did see actually online that there's a bug for this, where if you kind of cancel out early of your slide, you can get like a massive bloom bug in your ADS. But even discarding that, there is still way too much bloom in your ADS. Now another reason this also does happen, and this is one thing I do not like with, and they did copy it from Call of Duty, and people say like, oh, the movement speed should have been like, it's good they nerfed it because now now sweaty COD players can't really play it. Well, Battlefield 4 was kind of the same way, right? There was a lot. If you thought Battlefield 6 beta movement was bad, you should go see and play Battlefield 4 with everyone against a player that literally zuzus every fucking corner, which obviously isn't good because it just ruins your gameplay and shit. But Battlefield 6, the bloom is just, it is abundant. Like you cannot, like right there, you can definitely see a lot of certain small movements that you do. Strafes, and as I was going to get into the attachments, which was copying Call of Duty, that make it feel like detachments. So you put on attachments in this game, you get a negative side effect, which I never liked. And like I remember I played Modern Warfare 2 when I was playing on PS5 and shit. Which I didn't even pay for. My brother got it, and I just played it. And the BO6 beta, which I actually, was it BO6 or was it BO7? I don't know, bro. They made so many of those fucking games. Like Call of Duty is so bad. Basically, the attachments feel like detachments. You put on like a grip, and you get a side effect with it. I don't like that. I don't know why the developers do stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure they copied it from Call of Duty because of the gunsmith. It should not really be like that. When you put on an attachment, oh, that was some bad aim. When you put on an attachment, you should not be punished for putting on an attachment. Like, it doesn't make sense. What is the point of using an attachment if it's just not gonna, if it's gonna affect something else? That just ruins the point of using that attachment for everyone. You want to put on an attachment that is an actual attachment and not a detachment. You want something that shouldn't have a side effect. And the funny thing is, the grips that don't really have crazy side effects are the ones everyone uses. So there's not really a point, because it's not like it's gonna make people use every single attachment in the game. People are just gonna use the attachment that just doesn't give the detachment. It's a very bad system that I don't know why Call of Duty started, and in my opinion, I don't know why Battlefield copied it from. It's a terrible system. Like, you should just, like in Battlefield 4, it's the perfect way to do it. You have stubbies, angled grips, and I mean that's kind of the main ones that everyone uses, because you know there is some I'm trying to think, there are some issues with even Battlefield 4 with burst or just hit reg netcode and stuff like that. Battlefield 4 did have some bad hit reg. Battlefield 3 I would say had the best, but this game also does have some hit reg issues. that could definitely be fixed. Now, another thing that I did notice was the servers are on 60 hertz, which I don't really agree with. We're in 2025, we shouldn't be playing at 60 hertz. Maybe like 80 hertz, but I'm a firm believer servers should always be on 120 hertz in this day and age. There's just a bunch of bad issues on 60 hertz. You would definitely see it in Battlefield 4 a lot. So for some reason, as I said, Battlefield 3, it doesn't really affect it. Like, that's one thing that I love about BF3. It's just the hit reg is so consistent, even with so many issues with ping or stuff like that. It's very weird. So another issue I would say is the Magnum. The pistols, for some reason, the pistol, like the Magnum that you see I'm using, which is like a 2042 special thing that you got if you play that map. For whatever reason, the pistol iron sight is in 1.5x. Now, it's not like, it's actually a pretty big issue for me, but I'm pretty sure it'll be kind of for everyone. But yeah, it's a very weird issue that's in the game. Let's go into the next video. So yeah, into the next video. I forget what the kill and death was in this, but yeah, as I was saying, the Magnum, it's in a 1.5x, and it's very weird regarding like where you're going to be using it, you know, because it's a pistol. You're going to be using it in close range, so there's not really a reason to be looking through a damn sniper scope in close range. You're not really going to be able to headshot people. In Battlefield 4 it was a 1.25x, and I still didn't agree with that. Now Battlefield 1, I feel like they should have brought back this feature. This is probably the greatest feature in all the Battlefield games, the two best in my opinion. Being able to switch your sight X to any desired like scope you wanted to. So in Battlefield 1, you could change your pistol or Magnum sights, you can change your assault rifle sights, anything to the desired scope level you wanted to. And I really wish they brought this back with like iron sights. I think they did it just for, you know, because there weren't really modern sights in Battlefield 1, obviously, because it was World War I. But it would have been a cool feature to have on like maybe like pistol iron sights. And the vertical recoil, you could also change the recoil pattern, which I just use right, but it's not really an issue in this game. You just kind of learn the recoil pattern. It was just kind of like a bonus fun thing to have. Another issue was, I'm trying to think, the game feels like, I don't want to say this as like, because I don't know if it's confirmed, but the game kind of feels like it has skill-based matchmaking, especially in TDM, or mainly the 6v6 ones. TDM, King of the Hill, Domination, not in Rush. It does feel like there's like some hidden SBMM for some reason. Like I don't know if it's I don't know if it's an actual thing. I'm just kind of speculating. It just kind of like felt like what it was. Like one game I would go like 40 or 50, and then the next game my teammates would be absolutely terrible, and the enemies would be like full on sweating. It's kind of weird, and the beta wasn't like that. The beta occasionally, you know, it would be a balanced, like a random team on both sides. I don't know if it's maybe something they did from the beta, but it is kind of a weird type of system they have going, because they're still not really well, I don't want them to like, I can't remember if Battlefield 4 and 3 in the original matches had persistent lobby matches. No, they did. In the servers. I don't know why they didn't keep that in. That's another thing I realized, was there's no persistent lobby. You finish a game, you go into the next game with the different people. It's not like you stay in the same lobby. Now, obviously servers are different, but that's very weird. So that's something they should definitely add. A lot of these things that I talked about should definitely be fixed and added. I'm trying to think of some other stuff. Yeah, so maps, that's another thing I wanted to kind of touch up on as well. The maps kind of feel underwhelming. This is probably the best map. This was in the beta, Siege of Cairo. This is probably my favorite map in the game. The other maps, the one in the versions in New York, are kind of meh. Like they're not really as good. Like the one in New York honestly kind of feels like some sort of like maybe like a Rainbow Six map. It feels weird. But this is probably the best map. The other map that was good in the beta, the what was it? The one with the 3 or 4 houses where it goes downhill, and then in the middle is like a bunch of vehicles. I can't remember the name of that. That one was good too. And obviously a lot of these issues come from the flow. Now another issue, you'll see right here. Right there, that guy had an SMG and I had an AR and I hit him for 60. Weapon balancing, in my opinion, is kind of weird. So I'm seeing a lot of people use the M4A1. I haven't used it. I kind of don't want to use it. I kind of just want to stick with this weapon. Because this is basically they changed the names from the beta to the full game, which is the M33B, but now it's the M433. I'm still gonna kind of use this. I don't really feel like using the metal weapons and shit like that. I really don't care. I can still use these guns. Another issue is weapon progression. Now it takes a long time. Now it's not like it's a bad thing. I've seen a lot of people complain about it, like, oh, it's because Call of Duty players are so like desensitized to weapon progression. No, it genuinely does feel very slow. Like Battlefield 4, you can progress through a weapon in like 2 or 3 games, maybe 4. This game, it takes like 15. It is very weird. And yeah, it does make it like, it does want you to like play the game more, but I feel like people that are busy and stuff like that, they're gonna have to play it so much, and even then you're still gonna need to, you know, play the game a lot more when you have a job and stuff like that. It's kind of not viable for casuals and stuff like that, or even me. Like I'm pretty busy and stuff, so it's gonna be kind of weird. Like I'd still rather have it as being in the middle ground, not too fast, not too slow. It feels way too long. Like it feels, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say it feels like an 8 in terms of how long it takes to progress. Yeah, I missed a lot of shots there, but it's like a massive 8, like for progression of weapon XP and XP. It should definitely, like Battlefield 4, I would say, was like all the Battlefield games. It felt like it was like a 4 or 5, 6. In this game, it feels like an 8. It should, I would honestly make it feel like maybe a 6.5. Like, and the double XP, double weapon XP doesn't really do much in my opinion. And this is another thing. This is also another issue that I'm going to talk about. So, I think a lot of people know that on the EA app, when the game first came out, for the first, I think, from 12 to 6, the servers were down. Like, you couldn't play multiplayer. It said install multiplayer, but you couldn't really play it. Now, I was one of those people. And, apparently, EA has said that they were going to, give people who were affected by the outage, I think it was the EA app outage, like 20 double XP and double weapon XP tokens. And, the battle pass, when the first battle pass comes out, to make it free. Now, I haven't received any sort of double XP and double weapon XP tokens, and they said it was going to be over the weekend, and the weekend has already passed. I actually sent them an EA app ticket, but they didn't respond. So I don't know if they outright lied about that, or they just try to do it to like redeem themselves, which I highly doubt. But it could be next week. They didn't really specify the entire date of when they were going to do it, but that is actually something cool they did. That at least they, you know, they're giving compensation for those players, which is good on them. That's actually very good for the people, you know, that were affected by it. So other than that, I kind of want to let's talk about like concepts. So obviously the biggest one is the Battle Royale. Everyone did not want the Battle Royale, in my opinion. People were, you know, way against the Battle Royale, and including me. I hate Battle Royales. I don't like Battle Royale games. I don't like anything like Battle Royales. It's just, it's too ratty, and it's not really my type of game. Now, a lot of people, obviously, you know, the streamers, you've seen the videos. They talked like how much they wanted the Battle Royale, and it's going to be literally for them. And it feels very bad with how, like, if you look at the, I remember before the game even launched, I think it was a hype launch trailer, they had streamers in there, and it felt more like catered to streamers instead of like the actual community and the Battlefield players, both casual and competitive. It just feels kind of wrong when the streamers, like the COD streamers, are coming in just for the not COD streamers, just streamers in general, coming in to just basically ask for changes that no one really wanted. And I feel like they are kind of listening to them over the actual community. Well, actually, no. I think it's actually kind of the wrong people in general. I feel like they're listening to the noobs and the streamers without listening to the actual, like, good players and, like, competitive players. That's actually one thing you do want to do in as a developer or as a development team. You want to listen to all sides. You don't want to listen to one side. You don't want to listen to a competitive side, like, because then you'll have a game like Apex Legends, and you don't want to listen to the noobs, or then you're going to have a game that just falls off very easily. You want to kind of have a mixed balance. One game I used to play was Vigor. I'll just kind of keep it short, but I was really good at that game. It's a console-only game with, like, controller. That game it had a cult following because of how fun it was. And, like, the tech and just how, like, in my opinion, it was one of the best shooter games on console, and it had so much potential to be a good game. But the developers, I think they had a new dev team that just, they had a new head of the dev team or something, and they did really bad decisions. And what they did was they did a complete overhaul of the game to make it try and, like, be like Tarkov, very ratty. So basically, all the way the players literally played, they literally canceled out. They just deleted all the tech, deleted all the movement, and made the guns very, like, kind of the same in my opinion. And even the ammo types, it's an extraction shooter, but they made the ammo types all the same, which was purple or I can't remember the names for it. Not rare. Rare was blue. I think it was legendary. No, not legendary. Military grade. No, not military grade. Special grade? I can't remember, but it was purple. And that kind of ruined a lot of stuff in the game, and it literally made a lot of the players quit because basically it's literally Vigor 2. It's not even Vigor 1. And I can kind of correlate that into this because the best way to think about it, Battlefield 6 beta was Vigor 1, which was, it had like like, it could be like a cult following. Like, the movement was so good and stuff like that, it would keep people coming back because of how addictive it was. And I was literally addicted to the beta. That beta was super addictive. And I hadn't really felt like that in a long time to an FPS game. And the Battlefield, like, I was hyped up, and I think a lot of players were. So when the Battlefield 6 basically came out, all right, here I'm using sensitivity matcher for, I think I was going to change my sensitivity for the Magnum because it's 1.5x. But yeah, the beta was way more addictive than it was than the actual game. Like, I remember when I first played, like, my first game on BF6, it just felt very weird, and I didn't feel that type of addiction, that rush, you know, that, like, how much I want to keep coming back to this game as I did in the beta. In the beta, I straight grinded that because I genuinely enjoyed playing that game. It was super fun and addictive. Now, I feel like obviously part of that is because, you know, all the changes they did to the game, the slowdowns, the weapon bloom, that just makes it too much luck based. Another issue in the beta actually that I wanted to kind of touch up on was this weapon sway. There was a lot of visual weapon sway in that game. If you go back into one of my, I think, full King of the Hill videos, where I think it was a 60, where I dropped like a 60 bomb in the beta, I actually talked about it, like, in the game, like, during the gameplay, because I was, like, getting angry. But you can definitely see it, like, in the beta, where if you dropped off, like, a small little pebble while strafing, your whole entire gun would just shake, and you basically lose the gunfight. Or your scope would just, like, your reflex sight would just drop and come back up. It's very weird. I think they did fix the Battlefield 6 weapon sway from the beta in this, which is a good thing, but obviously there's still bloom. Like, you can kind of see it right here. I'm kind of playing through the firing range, just warming up and stuff. When I start shooting at the long range targets, you'll start to see like there's a lot of bloom in the game. In ADS, I do not support that. Like, I don't support being punished for going into a damn ADS aim down sights. It should not be a thing. They should definitely fix this. I don't like it. It really does. It literally makes me rage quit sometimes because it's just, I'm not really dying to people. I'm dying to the game. You're literally dying to the game. And that's not good. You don't want to be having something like that in your game. So yeah, I was gonna, let's touch up on more on the concepts because I'm kind of delaying a bit. So the Battle Royale, in my opinion, it should not really be a Battle Royale. What they should have done, and this is a concept I kind of thought up on just by myself. What they should have done instead of the Battle Royale is create a PlanetSide 2 type of game mode. Now, I feel like this would have been genuinely huge if they did do something like this. So, if you know what PlanetSide 2 is, it's basically a massive MMORPG that's live at all times on the server. And what it is it's basically like two factions, I believe is red. No, I think there's three. Blue, red, and green, I believe. And you have to basically have more control to win over the entire against the other teams, like capturing a certain like stronghold, I believe they were called. And these were massive. Like, they had a bunch of players. I think it was like 300, 400 players. And the game had continent travel. Now imagine continent travel in Battlefield 6. Like, you could go to like USA, Russia, China, or like Asia, like places like those, and like literally fight over there to like as in like real-time wars in a server with like 500 players trying to capture these big like strongholds or certain things, like headquarters in a way, live, like full time, like full-time, like as a live service thing on certain servers. And you'd have like three factions, you know, Russia, USA, and then Russia, USA, and then China. That would have been really cool to have. I feel like obviously it would take a lot of money to do, but if they had something like that, I think a lot of players would have played that over the battle. Like the Battle Royale, I guarantee you, it's probably just gonna kill the multiplayer. That's why I don't like Battle Royale games. It just kills the multiplayer. And it's gonna kill Battlefield. Like, if you look at Firestorm, I mean, Battlefield 5 kind of flopped in my opinion. Like, it was a good game, but it's just the player base kind of did not like it. I think it was something with the females in the game, which is understandable, but yeah, I never really played Battlefield 5, so I can't really speak too much on it. But if they did have a PlanetSide 2 game mode in this game, it would have genuinely be so fun. Like an MMORPG live time FPS in Battlefield. Like, PlanetSide 2, in my opinion, did take kind of the concept from Battlefield. But PlanetSide 2, obviously, I believe the developers Daybreak, after they made H1Z1, they kind of went out of business, I believe. I don't know if they went for bankruptcy, but why not take something that someone took a concept from you and then take their concept, you know? I feel like they should have done something like that towards Battlefield 6, but yeah, other than that, that's kind of what I wanted to rant about and talk about of the current game right now. It could definitely take a lot of the fixes, as I said, the bloom, ADS bloom, out of the game. Now, the movement speed could be the same. I feel like it's kind of mediocre compared to the beta. And obviously, there's not really much I can do, like, in terms of concept stuff, because obviously I'm just one fucking YouTuber or some guy on the internet that doesn't even have 1K subs. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about how I felt about the game and my thoughts on it. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Leave your comment down below if you guys disagree and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to disagree with me because obviously the Battlefield community is very split, and people are going to be very toxic. But you know, I'm open to a lot of like a lot of the way people think. And tell me what you guys think about like the beta in terms of compared to the, or not the beta, in terms of the game compared to the beta, and what you wish could have changed or been the same and changed instead, and as well as other stuff like concepts instead of the battle royale they could have had, like maybe an extraction shooter, even though I believe Call of Duty has that, which is DMZ. But yeah, if you guys have any sort of discussions you guys want to do, leave a comment and let me know. Peace.